So we're going to solve each quadratic by graphing. First thing we're going to do is look at the equation. You guys are going to tell me if this quadratic or this parabola is going to have a maximum or a minimum based on the equation. So what do you guys think? Based on the equation? A minimum, which means the graph is going to open up or down? Up. So we have a minimum, and when it has a minimum value, it means the graph is going to open up. All right, so the first three parts here we should be pros at, and then hopefully the fourth part, finding the zeros, we're pretty good pros at today as well for the quiz. So the first thing I'm going to find is the axis of symmetry. How do I find my axis of symmetry? Okay, and what do I substitute for B?
6.
And then for A? Which equals?
-6 over 2.
Which then equals? Okay, now that I know the axis of symmetry, I know that's going to be x equals -3. That basically tells me that on this -3 on my x-axis, that's where my symmetry line is going to go. All right, we need to now find my vertex. I have 50% of my vertex because I already have the x value. I need to find the y value. How do I find the y value here? Okay, so what am I substituting? What do I substitute for that x? All right. What's -3 squared? 9. Then I have -18 not equals, plus 8. So 9 minus 18 plus 8, what does that equal? -1. So my y value is -1. So if my y value is -1, I also know that the minimum value of my parabola is -1. All right, what's my y-intercept?
0, 8.
And now I'm ready to plot what I know and then figure out what my zeros are going to be. So I'm going to do -3, -1. I'm going to draw my axis of symmetry, which you do not have to draw your axis of symmetry if you choose not to. Then I have 0, 8. Okay. What's my one other point going to be?
-6, 8.
Negatives. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Oh, whoops. Needs to go up one, doesn't it?
I was at -6, 8.
Because we go, remember, if I fold this graph in half based on my line of symmetry, I want a point to reflect on the exact same. So I count 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So then my ordered pair would be -6, +8. Okay, now, based on what we have plotted so far, we could probably guess pretty well where my parabola is going to cross my x-axis. So that would give me the zeros, the roots, the solution, the x-intercept. So what number do we want to guess that the parabola is going to cross through my x-axis? You going to do -4 right here?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it. So we're going to use our original equation. I'm going to come up here. So I'm going to say my guess and check is -4. And our goal is to get y to equal what?
0.
0, good. Sorry, I ran out of room. I wrote too big. Okay, so then -4 squared is 16 minus 24 plus 8. Okay, what's 16 minus 24? And then plus 8 will get me 0, so yeah. So my first is going to be -4. Now it's pretty easy to guess what my other solution or 0 is going to be because I can use my line of symmetry. So what's my other 0 going to be? -2. So my zeros are -4 and -2. What are some other terms that I could use for zeros? Roots? What else? X-intercept? Solutions. Good. So roots, solutions, zeros, x-intercepts. Any questions on this first one here? Okay, your quiz is going to be identical setup, all right? It's going to be worth 10 points, and it's just one question. But let's practice one more problem before I give you guys your quiz. I really want all A's and B's on this quiz. Think we can do it? All right. Looking at my equation, is it going to have a maximum or a minimum value? I think I heard it. What was it? Did you guys say minimum? And is that going to open up or down? Very. And my axis of symmetry, what do I substitute in there for my B?
-2.
And then for my A,
1.
which will then equal,
1.
so you did 2 over 2, which will equal positive 1. Any questions on that? Does everybody understand how I got those numbers? Logan, you feel pretty confident about that part? Okay. What'd you do? The negatives get you?
I did 1 instead of 2.
Oh. Okay. Now, axis, we're ready to find the vertex. So we're just going to substitute in there. So we're going to have y equals, and then for x, I'm going to substitute 1. All right, what's 1 squared? When I simplify this first step through, what am I going to get? Logan, can you tell me what we get? So 1 squared is? Logan?
1.
Yes. What's 1 times 1? And then what's negative 2 times 1?
What?
What's negative 2 times 1? And then I bring down my minus 8. So then we simplify that. 1 minus 2 minus 8 is going to equal -9. All right, so my vertex is what? What's my vertex?
1 negative 9.
Perfect. My y-intercept? All right, let's plot what we know. How do you guys feel about this? Do you feel like you're going to get an A, a B on the quiz, an A or a B? Zero, -8. All right. I know my axis of symmetry. It's right here. Okay, and where's my other point going to be? Where's my one other point that I'm going to plot?
2 negative.
That's right. All right, now let's guess where that parabola, let's guess the solutions, the zeros. What are the zeros of my parabola? Where is that parabola going to cross through the x-axis? So what's our best guess here?
I want to say negative 3.
-2.
You want to say -3? All right, let's give it a shot. So we're going to do a guess and check. Okay, so let's see here. -3 squared is 9 plus 6 minus 8. That's going to get me 7. Okay, so we know -3 doesn't work. What's another number we could try? You know, try. So we know -3 didn't work. So we probably don't want to go further that way, do we? So let's maybe try -2. Okay, so I'm going to do a guess and check. Equals -2. All right, -2 squared. Oh, look what we found here. Did my y equal 0?
Yes.
Yeah, so my first 0 is going to be -2. So if my first 0 is a -2, what's my second 0 going to be?
Cause 4.
So -2 and 4. Any questions on how we came up with those two answers? How we came up with the zeros?
How'd you get 4?
How'd you get 4? Okay, so I used my line of symmetry. I counted from my point that I plotted on my x-axis. 1, 2, 3. There's my line of symmetry. So I know that there has to be a point that reflects the exact distance. So 1, 2, 3. Any other questions on how we got any of that following information? All right. Good job.